Welcome to my channel. Today we will learn to make a gharara for a 5-year-old child. Stay with me and learn how to plan, draft, sew and style the gharara. So let us look at the measurements now. I have taken some standard measurements of a 5-year-old. You can take your measurements according to the child for whom you are constructing the garment. So the first measurement is the waist round, and this is just a reference point. In this particular case, the waist round is 23.5 inches, and this reference point will be taken to calculate the size of the elastic. The elastic will be about 3 to 4 inches less than the actual waist round of the child. The next measurement is the hip round. Again, the hip round is also a reference measurement, and it is used to calculate the size of the waistband. So the child should be able to pull up the waistband above the hips, and it rests on the waist. And the hip round here in this 5-year-old is 25 inches. The measurement from the waist to the top of the knee is 12.5 inches, and this will include the measurement of the waistband as well as the measurement of the kunda, or the upper part of the leg. And finally, we have the measurement of the top of the knee to the sole of the foot, and this is going to be 15 inches. We will use a paper to mark out the layout of the pattern pieces on the fabric. So I've taken a piece of paper that is 3.7 inches in width and 99 inches in length. So the 9 inches are representing the 90 inches of the fabric, and the 3.7 inches are representing the width of the fabric, which is 37 inches. So each inch is representing 10 inches of the fabric. So the first thing we have to do is that that we have to plan where we are going to take out the pattern of the goat. So to define the goat, we have to now fold the edge of the fabric over like this into the form of a triangle. And this triangle is going to give you an absolute bind. Now, so once you've done that, and I've made a mark here to represent the top end of the goat. Once you've done that, and I've made a mark here to represent the top end of the goat. Once you've done that, then you have to measure 17 inches from here, like that. And this is going to be the length of the goat. So you have to make this marking all along, and then you have to join the lines together to make the bottom end of the goat. And then similarly, then you have to go down 17 inches here to make another marking. Once you've done that, then you have these pieces remaining of the fabric. And here then the second largest, and to cut out the kunda, you then, because the kunda is going to be, this is a straight grain of the fabric, and this is the straight grain of the fabric here. So you will make a measurement which is going to be 23 inches across and 12.5 inches in length. So you'll make one here and one from here. There'll be 2 kundas. Once you've cut out the kunda, then the next thing you have to cut out is the waistband. Now the waistband is about 29 inches. So you can cut out strips from the fabric here, and from here, and a small strip from here. And then you can join up these ends to make the waistband, which is going to be 29 inches across. Once you've done that, you still have some pieces remaining, which is this piece remaining and this piece remaining. And here again, you have to mark out the straight grain of the fabric. This is a straight grain of the fabric. So from here, then you have to cut out the kalis. So 4 kalis can be cut out from this side, and then the 2 pieces of rumali from here. So basically, this is the way you are going to lay out the pattern pieces on your fabric and cut them out. You can either make cutouts from paper of all the different pattern pieces, or you can just take the measurements and then just mark the fabric and cut it out. I'm going to make some cutouts of the rumali and the kalis so that it is easy for me to cut them out of the fabric as we go along. So now we calculate the different pieces of the gharara and what will be the measurements when we are cutting the fabric. So first of all, the waistband. The waistband will be 25 inches plus 4 inches across to adjust for the hip, and this ease is added to the hip measurement. And it will be 3 inches in length and folded over so that the final measurement will be just 1 inch in length. The kunda will be cut into two parts, one for the right leg and one for the left leg. So part 1 of the kunda is the straight component, which will be 23 inches across and 12.5 inches plus 1 inch in length. So the 1 inch is for the seam and the 12.5 inches is the length of the kunda. And part 2 of the kunda is the kalis. So 4 pieces of the kali will be cut, 2 on either side, 2 on the left side and 2 on the right side. And on each side, 1 kali will be on the front of the kunda and 1 kali will be at the back of the kunda. And each kali will be 2 inches across from the top, 4 inches across from the bottom, and 12.5 plus 1 inches in length. The rumali will be at the crotch of the garment and will be 2 inches across from the top, 5 inches across from the bottom, and 10 inches in length. And the goat is going to have a width of 40 inches to 50 inches depending upon how much flare you want, and the length of the goat will be 15 inches plus 0.5 inches seam at the top plus 1.5 inches hemming at the bottom, making a total length of 17 inches, which will be cut on the fabric. Here we see 2 cutouts that I have made for the rumali and for the kali. So because these are going to be a little fiddly pieces to cut through, so I've just made a paper pattern to help us to easily cut the rumali and the kali. So first the rumali. So this is a cutout, and make sure that you write down what it is, a rumali for a 5-year-old, and that we have cut this in May 2024. We are going to cut 2 pieces of the rumali, one for the front, one for the back. This is going to be the straight grain of the fabric, and this is very important to know that the straight grain of the fabric is going to be in the middle, and it's going to be 2 inches across from the top, 5 inches across from the bottom. So this edge is going to be on the bias, so it's going to be a slant. This edge is going to be on a slant, and this is going to be the straight edge. Then we come to the kali, and the kali is going to be cut into 4 pieces, but there will be 2 mirror images. So 2 pieces will be facing this side and 2 pieces facing this side. This is important because these 2 pieces are going to be attached on one side, the left side of the fabric, and 2 on the right side of the fabric. So they have to be facing the right way. So this is a straight edge of the fabric, the straight grain of the fabric, and this is going to be like 13.5 inches in length, 4 inches from the bottom, 2 inches from the top, and this is going to be the bias or the slanted edge. And this slanted edge is going to be attached to the straight edge of the kunda that we will be cutting. So I hope this will help you in the making of the fabric. So now we are going to start working on the fabric, and the first thing is that we have folded the edge over into a triangle, and this triangle, so this is the edge that is folded together, and this is the width of the fabric, and now we have an edge which is the bias edge. So the bias edge is extending all the way through right up till the end, and I pinned all the fabric at the bias end as well as at this end to make sure that when I cut it at the bias end, it does not slip. So this is very important, that we should have the right cutting. After cutting out the goat, we've taken the remnant fabrics on either side and pinned it up here. You can see the pinning. So you have to pin it so that you can stabilize the garment. So pin it on all sides, and then measure the kunda. So the kunda measurement is from here to here is about 23 inches, and from here to here is 13.5 inches. Okay, so now this we are going to 13.5 inches. So now I'm going to cut both the kundas because there are two of them, one here and one here. There's two of them. So I'm going to cut the two kundas. After removal of the goat from the main fabric as well as the two kundas from the main fabric, we still have a pretty large amount of fabric left behind, and from this we are now going to cut the kalis, the 4 kalis and the rumali. So as you can see, there's plenty of fabric, and because the fabric is slipping so much, I am reconsidering and deciding to make the waistband with the cotton fabric rather than with the silk fabric, because it will be well hidden, and so it won't really make much difference to the overall look of the garment. So now we are going to cut the 4 kalis, and we have put this paper pattern on a double fold of fabric. So this is the folded side and this is the open side. We'll be cutting both sides. So the kali has been laid out and pinned down to the fabric, and luckily we are going to get 4 kalis out of here, and they are going to be a mirror image of each other because they are going to be on the left side and on the right side. So as you can see, this is the selvage, and so this is the straight grain of the fabric. If you're not sure about the selvage, the straight grain of fabric, then you can see the selvage. The selvage lies along the straight grain. So this is a straight grain, this is a cross grain, and this is the slant of the fabric. So I'm just going to cut this. This is a cutout that I've made of the rumali on a piece of paper. I'm not going to cut it out on the fabric yet until I've towards the end of the fabric cutting. So we've now, the kunda or the upper part of the leg has now been assembled, and as you can see, this is one side of the leg, and here there is the kali which is coming down. So the kali is narrow at the top and broader at the bottom, and in the middle is the rumali, which is going to make the crotch of the garment, and this is the kunda on the left hand side with the kali. So this is the kunda and the kali. So you can appreciate now that the kunda is going to be wider at the bottom as compared to at the top. So it's wider at the bottom as compared to the top because of the addition of this kali or this panel that we have put in. I've also put the waistband on, and as I said, I made it from a cotton piece so that it will have a better grip on the child's skin and also will be more comfortable on the child's skin. And so I've just stitched this part here, and what I've done is that I've also overlocked this side to control the seam, the fraying of the seam, and on this side. And on the inside, what I've done is, on the inside, I've treated the seams to this kind of bias binding, and this is also a way to control the seams. So usually when I'm constructing a garment, I try different techniques for my procedure. In different parts of the garment, I try different techniques, and this is how you can develop your own skills and develop different techniques, and then finally decide on the one that suits you best. So this is just the cotton fabric, and what I did was I cut it on the bias and just attached it on top of the seam and stitched it with the zigzag stitch. So you can see that I haven't folded it over, it's just like sitting on top and controlling the seam here. So I did that in the upper part, but I'm not going to do that in the lower part of the garment. And so this is the way it is, and this is going to be the kunda or the upper part of the garment. And now I'm going to finish the lower part of the leg and then attach the two together. So just one thing I wanted to tell you, that for the purpose of attaching the kunda with the goat, we have to make some markings, and here I've used some paper tape to make the markings. So there's one marking which is like about 2 inches roughly from the the most innermost portion here, and then there's another one midpoint, and this is this point. So same thing on the other side. We've got one marking here which is about 2 inches, and then a middle marking, and this is the end marking. So what we will do is that we are going to attach the goat with the kunda in 5 sections: 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is going to be the 5th section. So the idea of having this 5th section is that there are very few gathers on the innermost side, and the remaining goat diameter or circumference will be divided into 4 parts and will be then attached to the kunda here in such a way so that the gathers are evenly distributed around the kunda. With this, we come to the end of the video. Please support this channel by tapping the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified of future videos. Share with friends and colleagues, and do send your comments.